What is up, guys? Hope you're doing well. I am back out on Lake Houston for some late summertime bass fishing, and guys, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I whacked them in today's video. I had the best September bag that I've ever had. This bag I caught today was definitely probably one of my top 3 bags that I've caught on this lake in my 20 plus years of fishing it. Again, like the last video, we're fishing old school. There is no electronics up here at all. The only depth finder I have in this boat is that Humminbird right back there just to help me navigate. But guys, you can learn a lot from today's video. You're gonna watch a guy put the pattern together and run with it. So this video is gonna be loaded with information. I'm gonna jump in it at the end and kind of give a little bit of an explanation and kind of walk through on the baits I picked, why I picked them. But guys, if you happen to be brand new here, I would love to have your support. Click the subscribe button, turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Let's go get out on Lake Houston and let the beatdown begin. There we go. There's number 1. Nice keeper. So we are back on Lake Houston today. We are starting in the East Fork. It's a little slower start for us. I think I've been fishing about an hour or so, but that's pounding 3/4 fish. We're just kind of focusing on the same thing I did the other day. Shady banks, just getting out here finding good trees. That bass, there's a cypress tree right there. I don't think it's in frame, but there's this lay down pine tree right here, and that fish was in the cypress roots. So that's what we're gonna focus on. We're gonna be doing a lot of pitching and flipping. I had a good one on a spinnerbait earlier that pulled off, so we're just gonna cover water and keep seeing what happens. There's no telling where you're gonna find these fish on the East Fork. A lot of times out here, they do move around. They do follow these bank lines that has all the trees on them. And you just never know. We finally got into this one area that has a lot of shad, so I'm probably about to tie on a couple different colored crankbaits and just see if we can get them to react to it. Little bass just hit my line. Another thing too out here on Houston, don't be scared to hit the heart of the structure. There's been many times where I flipped in stuff just like that and it's landed me a 4-pound plus fish. All we're doing, we're just taking little creature baits, pitching them up against the bank right now. There's another bite right there. That one's probably right at 14. So just started pitching and flipping. Yeah, that's another little keeper. But that one's right up against the cypress knees, kind of like just the one we caught a second ago. So that's gonna be our focus right now. We're gonna kind of bypass everything else and just keep this trolling motor on high and just pitch, flip, cypress trees, cypress knees. And all I'm throwing right now is just a watermelon purple creature bait. I don't think color's too important. I think as long as it's natural, nothing funky, something that looks like the brim, something that looks like the minnows that's in here, you'll catch the fish. It's definitely a cypress tree bite. This one's probably a little 12 and a half, 13-inch fish. But that's what we're gonna focus on right now. You know, I was throwing a buzz bait for a while. I really thought they were gonna eat it this morning, and I just never had the first blow up on it, so I picked up a white spinner bait, started seeing shad, had one just rock it, but these fish right now, they're just so tight to cover. So that's the pattern. We're gonna keep rolling with it. And you never know, we might luck up on a big one. I brought a couple jigs with me, some crawl worms. We're gonna pitch and flip these cypress trees, and I mean, there's just tons of them in front of me, so it's gonna be a good day. I got that gut feeling. As long as one of these snakes don't fall out on us, we'll be all right. Almost had that happen to me the other day. I got too close to one of these cypress trees and boom, right in the water. Yeah, this is real good looking cover. We're probably in 4 or 5 feet of water. I mean, right beside the bank. I mean, it's a foot to 2 foot, but you got all kinds of cypress knees. There's all kinds of root systems. There's just so many good places a bass can be hiding out here. And don't worry about hitting every piece of cover. Just hit the highlights. You don't have to spend hours picking it apart. Just pick, you know, something that looks odd within that spot. Like right here, we have this little bush sticking out, but we still got all kinds of roots and stuff. I'm just gonna hit this bush right here. That's all I'm gonna focus on. I might make a cast here, make one there, but more times the fish are gonna be relating to something like that, so just keep that in mind. Sitting here fighting voices in my head to pick up the buzz bait. We're in some real good looking water. We're gonna catch a big fish today. I just got that gut feeling. On this lake, you don't get too many opportunities out of them. I mean, a great day out here is 20 pounds. I knew he was little, but I didn't want to miss him. So these fish are definitely on cypress trees today. I mean, they were on them last weekend, but today, that's all I've caught them off of so far. Just taking a little creature bait, Texas rig, in a natural color and just pitching, flipping, kind of fan casting some of these areas. Right now I'm in one of these little spawn pockets off the East Fork. Caught 2 out of it, seen another good one blow up on a some kind of minnow on topwater. So when I head out of here, I'm gonna be chunking a buzz bait or probably that KVD splash and see if I can get something to hit a topwater. I'm gonna retie real quick. I got one nick in my line. And we'll be back in a second. Morning.
Morning.
Wearing them out.
Got 3.
Keepers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just missed one about 2 or 3 pounds on that point.
Getting everything frog and chatterbait.
Heck yeah. That one that blew up on me, it was on a buzz bait.
Yeah.
You in a tournament?
No.
Okay. I didn't want to get in your way. I'm just fun fishing.
Oh, no. Go ahead. Don't bother. I like frog, man. You miss some, but when you catch one, they're nice.
Yeah, they're usually good. There's a good one.
Got him, huh?
Yeah. Jig on the cypress tree. He might, I don't think he'll be a keeper, but might have been the one I missed. cypress trees again. Jumping in here real quick to talk about the 2 bass that I'm about to catch, because these really keyed me in onto what the bigger bass were doing. So both of them were in that 2 to 6 feet of water. Both of them were around some type of big hardwood. So after I caught that second one, I knew that's exactly what I needed to target. Oh, also, the wind noise is going to be kind of bad for the next 3.5 minutes roughly. It's not too bad, but I accidentally forgot my wind mic at the house. But anyways, back to fishing. That's a good one. I don't know how good he's hooked. On the outside of the mouth. One hook. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. That right there is a good Lake Houston bass. So that one's probably 2.5, 3 pounds, one little bitty hook. So we switched it up. Was pitching and flipping, and got back kind of more main river and started picking up a crankbait. I started noticing a lot of shad. So I figured might as well, you know, match the hatch, right? And that baby knocked it. I mean, there was no soft taps. It was a very hard hit. So one of 2 things. That's exactly what they want, or I just triggered the strike on that one particular fish. But definitely going to give this crank a good effort for a while. And this is about the 8th or 9th cast with this Excite XB1 crankbait that I've made. Literally just pulled it out of the rod box. So we're going to go down this bank. There's all kinds of laydowns, still good shade on it. We're just going to crank it, and we'll probably pitch and flip a couple places, but for the most part right now, there's so many good pieces of structure, there's no reason to pick it apart, flipping and pitching. We're just going to crank it fast, give them something to look at, and they'll either let us know that they're here, or they won't. That's why you throw the jig, baby. Everybody swimming, we flipping them in the boat. A good 3-pounder. have a little bitty one right there. Come on, baby. You want to play with the jig or you want to eat it? So what we're doing right now, just kind of got out of the wind back on this east bank. I wanted to keep I wanted to keep fishing that main part of the river, but it's so windy and I know it'd be really hard for y'all to hear me. I just had another one right there, but what we're doing now, we're just going down the bank with a jig. Had that real good one, the biggest of the day. That was a good, heavy, I'm gonna say 3-pound fish for sure. Real good shoulders on it. Just had one twice right there. And all I'm doing is kind of the same thing from earlier, just pitching, flipping, looking for cypress trees. The fish are really on cypress trees right now. Thought I had another bite. And a lot of times too, with jigs out here, you flip in there one time, they're either gonna hit it on the fall or just give it a couple, like right there, just a couple hops, and he's gonna own it. That's a good one. Yeah, baby. Some adrenaline going in the boat today, fellas. I love a jig bite. Look here, look here. That's how they're supposed to eat it. Old Strike King jig. This is not a bait you get a whole lot of bites on, guys, but it's one, if you put it in your hands, commit to it, you catch fish just like that. So got two real good ones, and I don't feel like that was the same fish that I missed over there. I mean, I could be wrong. Typically this lake, one 10-yard area is good for one fish. Not to say I've not went down a stretch of like from here to this cypress tree and bam bam bam, that does happen, but typically on Lake Houston, one piece of structure, one bass, then you move down and you'll catch another one. So just always keep that in mind. I hope to kind of disprove that today, but a lot of times it's like that out here. I'm excited, fellas. I knew that was a good one when I set the hook. Truth be told, we're 1 to 2 good fish, well, 2 good fish, I'm gonna say, from a real good Lake Houston limit. I really believe, if I put this in my hands and not put it down, I probably could have 15 pounds today. But I'm gonna alternate between, there's another bite, there's a brim. I'm gonna throw this and I'm gonna throw that Sight XB1 crankbait that I was throwing a second ago. Water up in the East Fork, it's not bad, but it's not good. It's just kind of a summer stain look to it, just kind of brown. You got 6 to 8 inches of visibility. And plus, with all the boats running around, this is a holiday weekend, there's a lot of just mud off the bank. So, just something to keep in mind. Hey, real quick too, I'm gonna jump in here. One thing that I look for a lot is what I call the spot within the spot. So we have this point right here that we're fishing. It's got some cypress knees on it. I can see a few below the water. But one thing to keep in mind is this little log right here. There's nothing really around it, and a lot of times just you'll have this one oddball piece of structure. It could be a big cypress tree, it could be a willow tree, it could be a bush, but just something different about the particular area you're fishing is called the spot within the spot. And usually there will be a fish on it, or they might be there at some point in the day. There may not be one here right now, just kind of depends. Sometimes they are there and they just don't bite. So that's just something I look for, but it'll definitely help you guys out, especially if you're kind of brand new to fishing. Definitely look for oddball structure like that. So we've made a location change. So there's a bite right there. Got tired of dealing with the drunks doing donuts out in the middle of the river, the beer cans floating everywhere. Kind of funny when the lake patrol leaves, all the idiots come out. But we're still fishing the main river. We're right here kind of getting closer to the mouth of the East Fork. There's still lots of good trees on both sides of this, and we're just chasing shade. That's all we're doing. I don't think one side of this river is better than the other. It's just where the fish at, you know, at the moment. We know they're relating to shade. We know they're relating to cypress trees, so that's what we're going to focus on. Dang, thunderstorms are getting closer and closer. Hopefully we can get 2 more good ones on camera, because we're 2 fish away from a real good bag. I mean, pull up to one of these pieces of structure or go down this bank or this little shade patch right here, and that might be the day. Yeah, I think we're gonna catch a couple right here. It would shock me if we didn't. That's a real good, that's a 4 or 5 pounder. Oh yeah. That's a 4 pounder for sure. I knew he wasn't hooked good. Yeah, that is definitely 4 pounds all day long, probably 4.5. Good thick fish. No live scope, no electronics, just using skill, natural talent, using the killer instinct to find the fish. That's awesome. I need to retie this jig, so I'm gonna get retied, and we're gonna get back to pitching and flipping this bank. Guys, so we're rigged back up. So all we're doing, we're just old school bass fishing, keeping it very simple. I'm just using what I've learned over my 32 plus years of fishing. Just simple, use my eyes, find the structure, look for that spot within the spot, and just pitch and flip. Again, there's no electronics on the front of this boat, nothing. There's eventually gonna be a live scope on here, but you know, once you get to using your natural skills, your natural talent, it kicks in. You'll pull up to an area, you'll be like, nah, this ain't no good. Another time you might pull up and like, yeah, this area is gonna be hot, and you'll whack them. So that just comes with time. It comes with lots of practice, lots of days on the water, and learning from others. You know, anything you see on this channel, you might be new here, there's no clickbait. I tell it how it is 100% of the time. I throw sponsors product, I throw non-sponsors product, because I believe in integrity, honesty, credibility, and giving credit to where it's due. So, just wanted to throw that out there. We're pulling up on this little point right here too, and a lot of times too out here, especially in this East Fork of Lake Houston, points are, there goes some shad chasing right there, so I need to pick up my crankbait. I was just about to touch on that. A lot of these bass will feed on these points right here, and you can, every now and then, you can catch some good bass on them. So just keep that in mind as well. We may not catch one, we might catch 5 or 6 big ones right here. You never know. And these points are pretty shallow, but there might be a couple logs on them. But a lot of times out here too, these logs, like we're gonna get the camera spun around in a second, you're gonna see old washed up logs along the bank. I mean, what you see on the bank over there can be exactly what's underneath the water right here. Let me turn this boat a little bit. It's real shallow right here. Any type of log on the bottom, I mean, that's just icing on the cake. So thought I had a bite, I hit a log. There's one lay down right here. There's this bush. I'm gonna bring this crankbait beside. Sometimes they'll be in that water's about 1.5 feet deep. It's shallow. You just never know where they're gonna be on these points out here, but it's important to fan cast them. Just make you 5 or 6 good casts. Nothing happens, roll on to the next spot. There's like a 3-pounder with it. That would have been cool. Maybe I can do this. That was a real good fish. I don't know, maybe the GoPro caught that or not. I know the GoPro doesn't really catch everything in kind of muddy water, but that's a good 3-pound fish that was with that little one. Good one? Yeah, I'm 1 bite away from a 15-pound limit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That might be him. That's not him. Scared me.
That's a fish, huh?
Oh yeah, no, I just missed one about 3 pounds, and that would have gave me my 15-pound limit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And they're not quite 14?
Huh?
Down there's not quite 14?
He'd be close. But yeah, I've been between this and a jig.
Yeah.
The jig bites are few and far between, but I mean, when you get one, it's usually a good one. So there's all kinds of just logs and trash down here. Just caught that one on the crankbait. But over there, I missed that one, or the 3-pounder come up with that fish I caught on the jig. I feel like it's close. I know it'll bite again because I never hooked it. So we're just gonna kind of slow down for a second. I'm just gonna drag this worm through there and maybe get lucky. Then I'm gonna rifle that crankbait in there a few times. Being she was hot a minute ago on getting that jig out of that other one's mouth. And when you have a lot of structure on the bottom like this, you can slow down. I mean, I'll probably give this, because I've seen that 3-pounder, I'll probably give this 15 minutes. If nothing happens, I'm gone, and I probably won't come back. It just kind of depends. So, like me coming back here is probably, I'm gonna say a 20% chance of that happening. Usually on this lake, you pull up, you catch your fish, you might as well go to the next spot. I mean, springtime, of course, is an exception to that rule. But generally speaking, you pull up, you catch a few. it'll replenish, but it might take a few hours later. So that's what I'm trying to say. All right, so now I've got 16 to 16 and a half pounds on my best 5 fish. I figured that bass was 2.5, 2 1/4, something like that. The wind noise did get kind of bad, so that's kind of why I'm jumping in here real quick. But so I've got a good September bag. The party boats, they're everywhere at this point in the video. The jet skiers are going crazy. The water's got real muddy. Pretty much everywhere north of 1960 is kind of chocolate milk to heavy stain from all the boat traffic. But that gut instinct of mine just said, hey Lance, keep that jig locked in your hand, keep pitching and flipping, just keep pitching and flipping, and this is why you listen to your gut. Giant. This is a big one. If I can get it out of this tree. Oh my gosh, I see it. Yeah, here we go. Come on. Come here, come here. Come here. Yeah, baby. That's another 4.5. Yeah. Yeah, that's another 4.5, fellas. Got it. How about that, guys? What a Lake Houston beatdown. So I'm a little hot. I'm about to put this boat on the trailer. We're gonna get in some AC, and I'm gonna give you a walkthrough on how I put the puzzle together today. Guys, what a blast. I am so glad I got this day on video. That's definitely one of my top 3 bags on Lake Houston. September can be a hard month out there, and especially on a holiday weekend, just blasted them. But I figure I had 18 to 19 pounds on my best buy with that last one. So that was, this was a special day. But talking about my day, so I got out there, I think I launched like 6:45-ish. I fished like the first hour, and it was slow. I had a couple missed opportunities, hooked one good one on a spinnerbait. Now this is one of my Lake Houston specials I throw out there a lot. Spinnerbaits work really good out there, and for whatever reason, they just weren't committing to it. So I started picking up Strike King Game Hog, missed one on it. It actually ripped the bait up. So I rigged up another one. This is what I started catching a lot of my fish on. It's not a baby brush hog, but it's the mold of a baby brush hog. Now, a friend of mine, he makes these for Sabine Lake. He sent me a pack. And matter of fact, let me just show y'all real quick. So if you want to get some of these, you can. A guy named Patrick Fontenot out of Lake Charles. He's on my Facebook friends list, so you can look him up on that. Just watermelon purple. I don't think it really mattered color-wise as long as it was natural, but just some kind of game hog, baby brush hog style bait. It always works on Lake Houston. I prefer the game hog. That's been my favorite for a long time. Growing up on Lake Houston, we threw baby brush hogs a lot and caught a lot of good fish out there. So shout out to Patrick, appreciate that. And that was actually supposed to be my Sabine baits, but decided to bring them to Houston. But so after I figured out there was a good flip bite, I picked up a jig and I caught a small one on it. Fished a little longer, picked up the baby brush hog again, caught some more fish. Then I switched it up to a crankbait because I really started seeing a lot of shad. So this is an older Excite XB1 crankbait, but it's a 1.5 size, just chartreuse and blue. The chartreuse and blue really stands out in the stained, muddy water. A lot of times Lake Houston, especially when you get in the East Fork or the West Fork of the river, it's nasty. I mean, you got about that much of visibility, especially like now that this week we're gonna have a lot of rain, or you get a lot of boats running around like on a holiday weekend. It's important to throw bright colors. So chartreuse and blue is a confidence color of mine. I also do good on chartreuse black. There's another color I'm not gonna tell you yet. You're just gonna have to watch it in my baits to throw on Lake Houston series when that video drops here soon. But yeah, so going back to the last thing I did. So after I caught that one good one on that crankbait, it's just kind of the instincts kind of kicked in and said, hey Lance, it's like, hey, someone tapping on my shoulder, hey, pick up the jig, let's see what we can get. So caught that first big one, or really all the good ones. This is a Strike King structure jig with a green pumpkin rage crawl on the back. Just a brim color jig. This is green pumpkin, it's got some orange flake, and it's got some, I'm gonna call it brown flake. Hopefully the lighting is kind of showing it pretty good, but if I can figure out what color number this is, well, I'll just have to look it up, but I'll link it in the description. But I just locked this in my hand, especially after that second one hit. It was like, all right. And like I mentioned too in the video, if you commit to something like this, keep it in your hands. I mean, you guys seen what happened. I mean, the 4 out of the 5 that made the limit came on this jig. And as far as jig setup, because I know I'm gonna get some questions, Castaway 7-foot heavy rod, Lew's Super Duty reel, 17-pound fluorocarbon line. Sometimes I throw 20. That last fish, I wish I would have had 20 because I flipped it right in the heart of that structure. And you know, when you buy good fluorocarbon line, I use Strike King and I use Seaguar. Still got a bunch of Seaguar up, but I'm probably gonna make the move and just switch everything over to the Strike King line. It's good stuff, and I believe that's what's on that one. I'm about half and half, so I don't know what all I've got on what, but it's either Strike King or Seaguar, but good lines. But guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Again, if you happen to be brand new here, I'd love to have your support. There's not many guys that are gonna give you honest and good information, so definitely love to have your support on the channel. As always, keep God first in your life. We'll see you next time. Y'all take care.